So an honest day's pay for an honest day's work is a principle that we hold dear in this country, but it's not the reality for literally millions of workers. Now, we've been investigating the kind of abuses in the jobs market that means that people aren't getting a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. We've been talking to firms who employ millions of people on 0 hours contracts, and what we found is that in many of those workplaces, that imbalance of power actually flourishes. But there's also a problem with many people in the gig economy. Although they're technically self-employed, in fact, the employer holds the whip hand in the workplace, and what we've been discovering is that that leads to problems too. One of the biggest firms in this area is Evri. It's the courier company that delivers millions of our parcels every year. They have just doubled their profit to nearly £120 million. 70% of couriers who work for Evri are self-employed. That's about 20,000 people. But we've been inundated on our committee with complaints from whistleblowers who say that they have been underpaid, they've been shortchanged because the packets they deliver have got the wrong postage on them. There's been issues around health and safety at work. And so we called in one of the bosses of Evri to answer questions in front of the Business and Trade Committee, and frankly, we were surprised that his conclusion was that Evri's couriers have got enough rights at work and are enjoying themselves. Here's the exchange that we had on the committee. Let me know what you think. So in 2022, you rebranded to Evri and you refreshed your core values. And number one, the first of those of core values, it says, do the right thing for our people. Do you believe a word of that?
Absolutely.
So we have been inundated with feedback from whistleblowers ahead of this session. Mm-hmm. And let me just read you some of what we've heard. So let's just start with wage discrepancies. One person has written in to say the figure of £15.61 per hour, which was stated to the committee 3.5 years ago, is, quotes, completely unrecognisable to most couriers. Parliament has been misled several times by this company. Another wrote to say, rates vary vastly in couriers doing the same sort of rounds. One courier's parcel rate could be over 15% higher than another. Another says new couriers are not always told their rates when they start. In reality, the majority of parcels are packets and paid at 75% of the standard rate. Another wrote in to say one of the persistent practices is to agree a round rate, then change the goalposts. Another wrote in to say Evri is renowned for their computer system that never gets anyone's wages correct and robs thousands of pounds off couriers every month. There's no telephone contact system to fix things. Is that doing the right thing for your people?
I have to say I don't recognise that evidence. We do pay couriers on a per parcel basis. Those rates are calculated according to the sort of geography of the area in which they're delivering. So it's basically the number of parcels they're able to deliver in an hour, because we model that to make sure that couriers earn well above the national minimum wage, because we want our couriers to continue to deliver parcels for us. So 60% of couriers have provided services for more than 2 years, and 20% more than 5 years, and 13% more than 10 years. So we believe that sort of really evidences a model that is fair and sustainable, and couriers actually, enjoy and are well remunerated for.
Well, let's
for
move on
working within
to another bit of evidence that we received, which says that in calculating the hourly rate, the company doesn't take account for the courier's extra costs or for the time spent scanning, sorting and loading times of parcels, the time taken to repair damaged parcels, and the time waiting for late vans. So how confident are you that you are actually honouring minimum wage legislation?
So our model is audited on an annual basis and reviewed by our trade union, the GMB.
They only represent some of your workers.
They are a recognised trade union for our couriers, so all of our couriers can join them and be represented by the GMB. They look at the model with us. We do model for time taken scanning and delivering the parcels. So the time will start when a courier first scans their first parcel to receive it, and then it'll end on the last delivery. So we measure that time, and we know the number of parcels delivered in that time period, and we're able to calculate their earning on a per hour basis.
Well, let's move on to what some couriers describe to us as the packet racket. They said to us the mislabelling of parcels issue appears to have resulted in several £million being ciphered off courier pay over the last 8 years. Another said, I find 10% of the parcels I have to deliver are incorrectly banded. Another said, we're allowed to claim for misbands, but a proportion of our claims get rejected. We're not allowed to appeal rejections despite photographic evidence. Most couriers don't claim as it's time-consuming or too much hassle. Another said, every claim their volumetric scanners are accurate. Nothing could be further from the truth. Is that doing the right thing by your people?
The term packet racket has been used for a long period of time.
It sounds like it's still in force.
We've done a lot. We've really done a lot over the years to improve the accuracy of.
These emails came in at the end of last week.
I have to say, we work really hard to measure and capture the volumetric and the weight of all of our parcels. Couriers are able to, if they think they are wrong, take a photo and actually. We will pay out on, we'll upgrade where it's an incorrect parcel if the clients have articulated or given us the wrong data. But we will weigh and capture the volumetric data of over 80 to 90% of our parcels. So we are paying on that audited rate where it is higher than that notified to us by our clients.
But it sounds like there are some flaws in the system. But let's move on to unachievable targets and wage reductions. Another whistleblower said to us, Evri sets targets that penalises couriers for working efficiently. For example, if a courier delivers more parcels than expected, the pay rate is reduced, creating a cycle of underpayment. Is that doing the right thing by your people?
As I said, we are very careful to model the number of parcels that are delivered by our couriers and the time in which they deliver them, and we ensure that those those rates will have earnings far greater than national minimum wage, and that is a model which is, reviewed on an annual basis with our trade union. So I don't recognise those statements.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the allegations we received about unfair competition and practice. But the focus of this complaint was I'm quoting again, Evri's 27p per mile allowance for couriers is insufficient to cover the cost of vehicle ownership and maintenance. Is that rate doing the right thing for your people?
That's a rate which is modelled on HMRC's per mile expense rate. So we thought that was a fair risk rate to use.
Okay, well, another set of complaints was around poor treatment of workers and the health and safety of various facilities. So one person wrote in to say, over the peak period of December, many couriers are forced to work 27 days without a day off. Another said, if they don't work on these super Sundays, they have to deliver the Sunday parcels on the Monday and Tuesday. This, quotes, is physically impossible. Another has spoken to couriers who said they were already working from 8:30 to 8 p.m. non-stop, delivering Monday to Saturday. When they informed their manager that they were physically unable to do the Super Sunday, they received an improvement notice for being unable to take the Sunday parcels on the Monday. At one depot, we were told fire exits are frequently blocked, cages with metal wires and spikes were protruding dangerously. Some depots have no toilet facilities or access to hot water. Is that doing the right thing for your people?
We have a set of requirements for all of the delivery units into which we will deliver the parcels and the couriers will collect them. All of those requirements have operational toilets, hot water facilities. We do audit and check those delivery units. So I'm confident that that sort of statement around health and safety and blocking fire exits is not accurate. We do check that. Our employees are in these sites regularly throughout each week, so we would know about it. Our health and safety teams go and audit these sites as well. So I have to say, I'm afraid I just don't accept that.
Okay. Well,
in terms of Super Sundays and working long hours, parcels parcel volumes will double double over that sort of Christmas period. We took on 10,000 extra couriers to be able to handle that extra parcel volume. Where couriers are unable to collect all the parcels, the delivery units are kept open to allow them to come back and deliver them throughout the day. And they're, of course, able to bring in other people to support them.
Well, let's then look at unfair use of self-employment. So another set of complaints that we received into the committee's team was that Evri has main depots that employs sorters to sort the parcels, but they're then transported out to sub-depots. And when it comes to the sub-depots, these are contracted out. And so each sub-depot has its own local contractors, which treats the sorters as self-employed rather than employed. Is that doing the best thing for your workers?
So, I mean, we've not used the terminology sub-depots for a long period of time. They are, though, in the main, contracted suppliers who will run the site, have their own people carrying out the sortation of the parcels for the couriers.
Okay. Well, there are then further complaints around exploitation of vulnerable workers. So subcontractors were reported to be using those in the country illegally, and people who were claiming benefits to cover delivery rounds. And they were told that Evri allegedly turns a blind eye to these practices. Another talked to us about lack of proper courier checks, not currently checking the background or insurance status. And then there were many complaints around couriers who were raising issues with Evri management and basically just being given a cold shoulder. Is that a good way to put people first?
So, I mean, I'm really sorry to hear those statements.
Well, I've got lots of them. And I've literally got pages of whistleblower complaints that have come in as soon as people found that we were running this session.
We do have a code of conduct which is on display in all of these delivery units where the couriers will collect the parcels from, which clearly has a anonymous whistleblowing number on it as well, as my email address, as a company secretary email address, so they can write directly to me and my team will investigate. Our employees are on the site. If they have any issues, they can raise it with them, and they can raise it with the GMB representatives that are within these sites as well. So we have lots of ways in which we can gather in these sort of claims. And I have to say, these are not things which I recognise or brought to me directly from couriers or the GMB.
When I put the list together, wage discrepancies and inaccurate payments, unfair use of self-employment, unfair practices in parcel bundling, unachievable targets and wage reductions, unfair competition practices, poor treatment and health and safety issues, bullying and intimidation, exploitation of vulnerable workers, lack of proper courier checks, failure to address couriers' concerns. What workers and couriers describe to us is not a partnership agreement with Evri. They describe a slave driver's contract. And so I'm curious as to how you're not picking this up when our inboxes have been flooded ahead of the session.
I'm also curious of that. We have numerous, as I've mentioned, numerous ways in which couriers can flag any issues to us. In addition to that, we have we survey our couriers twice a year to find out what their sentiment is and to take any feedback.
None of these 10 issues came up?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I mean,
something appears to be going wrong on the shop floor.
Our couriers will have frustrations around the services that they provide. Things like...
It's their fault. It's the courier's fault.
No, things like parcels not being delivered or being available for them when they arrive at our delivery units for collection. That's the sort of typical issue that they will face, which we work with them to try and solve, but but we don't always get it right. But as I said, there are numerous ways in which our couriers can tell us how they are being treated, and I have to say, I just don't have those emails flooding my inbox.
Well, we do, I'm afraid. So, with the new Employment Rights Bill, how will your model need to change? And what will this conversation feel like in 12 months' time once the bill's gone through, do you think?
Well, so the employment bill at the moment we're supportive of it virtually in its entirety. We work hard with our trade unions, the GMB and USDOR, so we're supportive of the trade union elements of the bill. We're supportive of flexibility from day one. We have that already within our employee network, and day one rights we're supportive of. And as with a single enforcement body, we were very supportive of that. The bill at the moment, we don't have any concern about at all. There will be a consultation on employment status, which we will feed into, which we wrote, we gave some written evidence to your committee about as well, and which we were invited to give you some evidence today on. We believe that our model, which is based upon the flexible in-beam status, grants paid holiday, union recognition, pensions, these are rights which our couriers have today, and which we think can be rolled out more widely to organisations that use self-employment at scale.
Do you think that your couriers have strong enough rights today?
Our couriers have numerous ways in which their voice can be heard.
But do they have strong enough rights in the workplace today?
They have paid holiday, union recognition, pensions, and soon to have a sick pay scheme, an insurance-backed sick pay scheme, which has been agreed with our trade union.
Do they have strong enough rights at the workplace today?
I believe so, yes. Coupled with the level of flexibility that couriers like to have to be able to access work and provide.
So I've just read you out a long list of 10 whistleblower complaints, but you think that they've got strong enough rights at the workplace today?
I'm unsure as to how those whistleblowing complaints could be sort of enforced. We would, if we heard about them, we would investigate them, of course. And if their pay rates were paying less than our model, we would take action. Where couriers find parcels which are an incorrect size to which we are paying, they can tell us about it, and we will change their rate that they are paid for that parcel.
Thank you.